From the studios of Farm Journal Broadcast, this is AgDay.
Rescue mission.
When I seen Rain laying in the ditch, I knew immediately that her leg was broken.
How a trip home turned into something much more for a North Dakota man. Doing more with less. How changes in water delivery may be the wave of the future when it comes to boosting crop yields. And another wrinkle in the supply chain crunch.
Coming up on Ag Day, could labor issues become even more severe during harvest? That's the concern. We'll tell you why on Ag Day.
Good morning and welcome to Ag Day. I'm Michelle Rook. Clinton Griffiths is on assignment. The supply chain crunch isn't over yet. Issues at the ports are now moving inland, raising costs and new problems for shippers. Farm Journal's Tyne Morgan joins us now with more on this. Tyne, these bottlenecks could all come together at harvest time.
Well, Michelle, issues getting grain from the Midwest to places like California and the Southwest are becoming more severe, and feed users are paying more for that grain, with some concerned about running out. National Grain and Feed Association telling us it's not issues with equipment or engines breaking down. Instead, it's the amount of time it's taking to get trains. Ken Erickson of S&P Global says the main issue revolves around labor.
At times in the past several months, we have heard from more than one member that has had severe difficulty getting feed. Sometimes being within several hours of being short.
The railroads had, on a mandated requirement, instituted precision railroad systems out there, precision scheduled railroads, part of the requirements to meet for the federal government. And so they thought they didn't need as much crews if they can automate some things or be able to have greater visibility of trains. Well, the reality is they got so far behind, they had furloughed a lot of crew members. And you just can't bring crews back overnight without adequate training, and to bring equipment back that's offline to get it conditioned again. So these things, it takes long lead times.
At the same time, the four major rail lines are in the middle of a labor dispute with the unions. Currently, all parties are in what they call a 30-day cooling off period. But in mid-July, there are some actions the president can take. And with the current timeline on the table, there's a deep concern about even more severe labor issues with rail during harvest.
But once we get into mid-September, there's also a risk of some labor issues, even labor stoppage on some of the rail lines. And so getting these things addressed now and all of us working together before we get particularly into that fall harvest, where we've really never been in a situation where a reliable and resilient rail service is more important than it is.
Now, Erickson says this Friday, the International Longshore and Warehouse contract with Pacific Maritime Association expires. Now, they have been negotiating and committed to stay working, but that could also cause some disruptions or even lockouts short term. Reporting from Missouri, I'm Tyne Morgan for Ag Day.
Thanks, Tyne. There is some good news about U.S. product making it out of the country. U.S. exports rose to a record of $176.6 billion in May. Imports were little changed at almost $281 billion. It leaves the narrowest merchandise trade deficit of the year so far. Exports were boosted by gains in industrial supplies, including petroleum products, as well as increases in the value of shipments of consumer goods and vehicles. The trade was closely watching Wednesday's USDA hogs and pigs report to see if the U.S. hog herd continued to contract. The report confirmed that, with most of the major categories coming in 1% below a year ago. That includes the June 1 inventory of 72.5 million head, which was also slightly below last quarter. The breeding herd, market hog inventory, spring pig crop, and farrowing intentions were all at 99% versus 2021. Those numbers were in line with expectations, and production has been contracting for several quarters due to a combination of factors, including high production costs.
High-priced corn, you had sow liquidation along with high-priced sows as well. So it's kind of just an easy out with that. Disease has been tremendous the last year and a half, 2 years as well.
Quema says the high building costs have also slowed construction of new barns. So he doesn't see anything in the near term that will cause producers to change these production trends. Triple-digit heat across Nebraska and South Dakota may help the winter wheat mature, but it can be tough on the summer crops. Meteorologist Matt Yarosavage joins us with an update.
Yeah, and all that heat, Michelle, is really causing things to dry out in the center of the country. We've been dealing with a lack of rainfall and very warm temperatures, but also a lot of sunshine as well. We're going to be seeing that pattern continue as we head towards the end of this week before a little of relief could be on the way. And if you look here at the root zone compared to that drought monitor, we're still looking at extreme drought conditions in parts of the south and parts of the west. Likely to see some more worsening of those drought conditions there in that circled area, including parts of the Great Lakes down through the midsection of the south and then back towards places like Oklahoma and East Texas as well. Something we'll keep you updated later on today when we get that updated drought monitor. But here's a look at the precipitation as we head through the next 2 to 3 days. Not much going on, but then it looks like some relief starts to come, especially right through the Corn Belt. Lots of chances for rain next week, and that goes all the way through next weekend. So more rainfall in the forecast, but for the next few days, it is going to be hot and dry across most of the country. And here's a simply beautiful sunset in central Indiana. J.B. Edmondson taking this photo. Love to see all those colors in the sky. I'll have more on your forecast coming up.
Farmers in California are making the most of the water they have right now. Now a study in California's low desert region shows switching to drip irrigation for growing sweet corn can significantly conserve water, curb fertilizer use, and boost crop yield. That's according to University of California Cooperative Extension Service researchers. They conducted trials in Imperial County. The county is California's top sweet corn producing area with an average of 8,000 acres planted a year. The study was conducted over the last 2 growing seasons. They say of the 11 commercial sweet corn field study, 6 were under drip irrigation, and they used on average 37% less water than the 5 under furrow irrigation. They also think the system could save producers up to $150 per acre in fertilizer costs. Also in California, the state's Occupational Safety and Health Standards Board has voted no to allowing autonomous tractors to be officially used in fields in the state. It denied a motion to amend the state labor code, the board voting 4-3 to reject Monarch Tractor's petition. Many growers argued driverless equipment would help them deal with labor shortages and increase productivity. But some board members argued there wasn't enough evidence yet as to the safety. Soybeans extended their rally on Wednesday for the 4th straight day, but we had kind of mixed markets in the rest of the grain and livestock complex. We'll have market analysis coming up. And later, an act of kindness and a guardian angel, how the two came together to help a young woman in need in the country.
Ag Day is brought to you by the End Zone by Farm Shop MFG, which allows you to rehydrate your soybeans from 10 to 13%. On a 20,000 bushel bin, that's an extra semi-load added to your bottom line. Order your End Zone fan control by July 31st and receive $200 off.
Joining us with market analysis, Rich Nelson with Allendale. And Rich, we did see kind of some mixed trade in the grains today, and some of that looked to be kind of squaring ahead of the reports.
A really good point here, especially with this fact that we got first notice day for these July futures lined up tomorrow. A lot of people pointing out that these July contracts made some big moves while the new crops really didn't, they kind of settled back a little bit here. So USDA as well as weather are still 2 big issues right now.
So that USDA report, let's talk about acreage first. We're anticipating maybe more corn acres, less soybean acres. Do you think the market was pricing that in already?
No, for the most part, we do. And these expectations are really not that large of a change. Average trade guess for corn, only 400,000 acres change. Soybeans, only 400,000 acres as well. And now we are a little high for most of the trade group. We expect a 1.4 million acre increase for soybeans. But as a whole, these acreage numbers are not that alarming here.
So I got to ask you, with the way the bull spreads have been working, especially in the corn market on Wednesday even, do you think that with as strong as the cash markets have been, that we could get a little bit of a surprise in the quarterly stocks report for either corn or beans?
You know, at this point for ourselves, at least for the stocks report that's lined up all the way through the end of May, we're not quite sure. But keep in mind for corn, we might have 1, if not 2 weeks of good export sales to discuss. That might give us a little short-term boost tomorrow morning. But for myself, at least on this one, I'm not expecting major surprises for us on quarterly stocks for corn or soybeans.
So Thursday is also end of the month, end of the quarter. You mentioned first notice day, so we can expect a lot of volatility.
Certainly right. And let's throw one more thing on top of that list. Heck, out tomorrow morning, and this is out before USDA's report, we have the National Weather Service updating the July-only weather forecast, and updated from the first update that came out on the 16th. So we've got actually a few things lined up tomorrow, which could give these markets something to talk about.
Do we have much weather premium in the markets yet?
That's a good question. According to my numbers, at least, we still have about half of the premium which wasn't involved on the corn side in the past month and a half. So there's still a bit more to take out there if we don't have a threatening July forecast. As far as soybeans, we do think that most of that premium has been taken out. Still some questions, though, about demand here these next few weeks.
Thanks so much, Rich Nelson with Allendale. Full analysis on agweb.com. We'll have more Ag Day coming up.
To talk to Rich Nelson one-on-one, call 800-262-7538. Your next piece of equipment is on MachineryPete.com. Search equipment from dealerships across the country to find what you're looking for. Only on MachineryPete.com.
And Matt Yarosavik joins us with our national forecast. We're getting in that very critical time period here for row crop development. We've had a lot of heat. Is that going to change, or are we going to get any moisture with it?
Yeah, and it actually, Michelle, looks like that the heat and the humidity is going to stick around. But as we head towards next week, there will be more chances for rain. We've got to get through the next couple of days, though. And you can see as we head through Thursday, we are going to be looking at that jet stream again, well to the north. A couple of systems up here to the north as well. Moving through the northern plains, that gives them a little bit of relief from ongoing drought conditions that likely could have developed had this jet stream been just a little bit farther to the north. But as we head into this busy 4th of July holiday weekend, notice the jet stream, it's nowhere to be found, still well to the north. Maybe a little bit of some action coming in there to the Pacific Northwest, keeping things just a little bit cooler than the rest of the country. But as we head through Sunday into the 4th of July, look at this heat building right through the center part of the country. Another ridge really digging deep all the way up into southern parts of Canada. And that could be bringing 90s and triple digits all the way back into the northern plain states there. And then we start to see this heat, well, not go anywhere. The ridge continues, but with this ridge, next week comes a few more chances for rain, kind of a more wavy pattern here, if you will, to that jet stream. So that's something that we'll keep an eye on. But for the next couple of days, not too much is going on. We've got a stalled out front in the south and east, and that's why we've got all of these showers and thunderstorms popping up in the daytime heat. Another system bringing some tropical moisture right along the Gulf Coast, Texas, Louisiana, and then a couple more showers and storms along very weak frontal systems there in the southern part of the Rockies, and then that cold front getting out of here in the upper Midwest. And that's not going to bring much of a chance of rain. A couple of showers, maybe a few thunderstorms, could be on the severe side in the upper Midwest. Other than that, not much is going on as we head through most of the rest of this week. Just again, that stalled out front really not going anywhere. The one, though, in the upper Midwest could bring a few stronger storms, an isolated tornado, a few heavier downpours, and some small hail could be possible with that. But rainfall, again, going to be the main thing. Most of it in the south and east. A little bit here in the Corn Belt, but as we head towards next week, many more chances of rain as we saw earlier, and we'll keep you updated with that, as well as that drought monitor tomorrow morning right here on Ag Day. That's a look around the country. Now let's take a look at the weather where you live. Wiggins, Mississippi, thunderstorms likely, a high near 85 degrees. Duluth, Minnesota, a chance for storms and very breezy, a high near 80 degrees. And then heading to Hanksville, Utah, mostly cloudy and a chance for storms, a high near 90 degrees.
Coming up, how were cattle in other states impacted by the recent heat wave? We have an update. And later, how a simple drive home turned into an incredible act of kindness in the country.
It's time to sign up for the 2022 United Pork Americas Conference in Orlando, Florida. Register today at UnitedPorkAmericas.com and join us September 7th through the 9th.
Cattle feeders in Iowa and Nebraska seem to have escaped death losses from the recent heat wave, but performance did take a hit. As we've reported, thousands of head of cattle were lost due to the extreme heat stress in Kansas feed yards. However, in southwest Iowa, David Trowbridge says they dodged that bullet. But he says feed consumption did drop about 25% from normal for this time of year, which resulted in lower weight gains in their cattle.
You lose a lot of performance when you lose 25% of your consumption. You're gonna see that mainly going to maintenance, what they're eating right now, just getting by until they can cool down and get back to eating correctly.
He tells me they are concerned about extended forecasts calling for the heat to build back in and are taking mitigation measures to try to get ahead of the heat stress, supplying ample water and using sprinkler systems to help the cattle cool off before they are overcome by heat stress. Officials I talked to from the Nebraska Department of Agriculture also say they didn't have any death loss out of the normal range during that heat wave. A new meat processing plant is planned for Gearing, Nebraska. Nebraska ranchers Dean and Jared Lyrick have received approval for the plant. They say they intend to process 40 head of cattle per day, 5 days a week. The plant will be at the site of the former Packerland plant that closed in 2005. The Lyricks operate Pumpkin Creek Ranch and plan to call the business Pumpkin Creek Meat Company. After securing an investor group, they hope to start building in the fall. Still ahead, it was supposed to be a routine ride down a dirt country road. But it quickly turned into so much more, with someone in the right place at the right time. Next, in the country.
Got equipment to sell privately but tired of scams and hassles? Visit MachineryPete.com and click Sell Mine. MachineryPete.com, the simple and secure way to buy and sell equipment online.
Sometimes we're just at the right place at the right time. Some say that's a coincidence. As Jody Kurzman of AgDay affiliate KFYR reports, for one man near Bismarck, North Dakota, it's more like divine intervention.
Talk about the road less traveled. Not many cars travel this stretch of gravel. Those that do have a good reason to be here. Dewey Johnson's home for the past 37 years is just over the hill.
I travel it every day.
It's usually a quiet, uneventful drive. But last week, something unusual caught his eye.
There was just something there that was just absolutely just out of the ordinary.
Dewey pulled over for a closer look.
That was as I was coming down here.
That's when he realized what had caught his eye was a body lying in the ditch.
First thing that came to my mind that she was dead.
She was Rain Jensen. Rain wasn't dead, but she was badly injured after she fell off the horse she was riding.
When I seen Rain laying in the ditch, I knew immediately that her leg was broken.
I fell on my knee and then it broke my femur.
Dewey sat with Rain while they waited for the ambulance.
He was there to save me when I needed it.
Rain says Dewey is her guardian angel.
He gave me a blanket while I was laying there because I got really cold.
That blanket holds a lot of meaning for Dewey.
This is the blanket.
It's the blanket his late wife Donna used after every chemo treatment. Donna's been gone for 13 years. Dewey never took the blanket out of his truck. Dewey says that was his guardian angel, his late wife stepping in.
Thank you.
This is the first time Dewey and Rain have seen each other since the accident. It's the first time Dewey and Rain's mom, Nicole, have ever met. Rain is inspired to be more like Dewey.
You don't hear about the kindness that happens. You hear more about the bad, but I think that the kindness is really important.
But Dewey insists he didn't do anything remarkable. He did what's right.
I would crawl on broken glass and burning coals and barbed wire to go help somebody. I have pretty strong faith. I know that God puts us on this world for a purpose.
On this day, on this dusty country road, Dewey's purpose was to help a young girl, a stranger who now is more like family. North of Bismarck, I'm Jody Kurzman, reporting for your News Leader.
Raina started physical therapy and hopes to be healed in time for her cross-country season in the fall. That's all the time we have this morning. Thanks for watching. For all of us here at AgDay, I'm Michelle Rook. Have yourself a great day.